What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me for another exciting episode of 5 in a Game. If you guys are new to this channel talks about the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League tough guys. It kind of goes over their career, when they got drafted, the penalty minutes they had, and the guys they fought during their Quebec Major Junior Hockey League career. My very first episode was on Samuel Duplain. We took a blast through his career, the guys he fought, the things he's done, and the penalty minutes he racked up. That was an absolutely great episode, so thank you for everyone who tuned into that one. That was my very first one, and now we're on a number 2, where we talk about a guy today who played for the Baie-Comeau Drakkar. He's the guy who holds the most penalty minutes in one season with 653, and the guy I'm talking about today is none other than Marc-Andre Roy, number 39 for Baie-Comeau. I mean, 653 is a record in mostly any league this day and age that'll never be broken, but it's specifically the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I mean, that record is going to go untouched probably to the end of time. And yeah, we're just going to talk about Marc-Andre Roy today and what he was like when I got to see him play here in Cape Breton. I got to see Marc-Andre Roy through his career anytime he came through. And the things he did throughout his career in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and where he went afterwards. So like I said, thank you for joining me today. And this one's going to be a fun one where we talk about Marc-Andre Roy. Like I said, the 653 penalty minutes, I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, that man spent a lot of time in the penalty box that year. But that was in his last year. So we're going to get into the right away off the top of Marc-Andre Roy's career here, how he came in to Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Marc-Andre Roy was invited by Baie-Comeau. He didn't get drafted into the Q. He was a walk-on who made the team that summer, and did he ever leave a mark going into his first year? But before we get into all that, Marc-Andre Roy was born October 27th, 1983 in Montreal, Quebec City. He was 6'2", 218 pounds. Like I said, he didn't get drafted into the Q. He was a walk-on. He was playing for a AAA team back in Quebec there. So Baie-Comeau obviously seen something in this guy. So he came in the 2000s-01 season. He played 5 games for Baie-Comeau, racking up 5 penalty minutes and having a fight with Daniel Pettigay, who was a pretty known tough guy in the Q around that time. So Marc-Andre Roy was definitely looking to make a splash there in the 5 games that he played. But the next year, he made the team, the 01-02 season. He went in that with 58 games played and 432 penalty minutes. So this guy came out looking to break records. He had obviously, in my opinion, he had an idea of what he was doing in his Quebec Major Junior Hockey League career. He was definitely going to be the most penalized player on the ice for the whole league. That season, for the 432 penalty minute season there in 01-02, he fought guys like Martin Tromp. He fought George Davis twice that season. Samuel Duplain 5 times. Like I said earlier, Samuel Duplain was the first guy I ever did one of these on. So going back to that now. But Jeremy Knight, he fought him 3 times. Robert Snowball, who was another Quebec Major Junior Hockey League tough guy. Snowball went on to have a really good career. I think he played in the ECHL for a while. So he was fighting big names right off the hop. Now, this guy's his first year in the league, and then he takes on Hugo LeHou, who everybody knows how tough that man actually was. Hugo LeHou, definitely a very, very well-known tough guy throughout the Q around this time. I'm pretty sure that was his last year. But he also fought the guy who has the nickname The Hammer, Jonathan Tremblay, who I'm definitely going to have to do one of these on in the near future. Jonathan Tremblay, through my experience, when I seen him come to Cape Breton, that man did some damage. I mean, he beat up every single person who ever came into his sights, at least on the Eagles, I could say. I mean, that guy struck fear into a lot of players, and as he should. I mean, you don't get the name The Hammer for nothing, but Jonathan Tremblay, in my opinion, was probably the king of the QMJHL, being the tough guy wise. Like, Marc-Andre Roy holds the most record for the most penalized player in a season, but like Jonathan Tremblay was just on a whole nother level. But that didn't stop Marc-Andre Roy from going after him. That probably just, in my opinion, made him want to fight him more. Like I said, in his first full season with 56 games played, or 58 games played, he had 432 penalty minutes. So this guy was fighting like twice a game, which is just unheard of in the Quebec League now. The only time you'll ever see that is if you go watch an LNAH game. There's not too often you're going to see one guy fight twice a game. This wasn't just all fights, racking up 432 penalty minutes. There's game misconducts in there and a few other penalties, I'm sure. But, I mean, Marc-Andre Roy was out to set a record. And he was definitely out to make his name his first year in the Q League. With his first year, he racked up 28 fights that season. I mean, that's a pretty impressive first full season as a rookie. You're smashing off 28 fights, and you're fighting Samuel Duplain 5 times and George Davis twice. Another guy, Jeremy Knight. Jeremy Knight's another tough guy from the Q League. He went on to play LNAH. I'm sure some of the listeners out there definitely have heard of him before. He was another known tough guy. So, in Marc-Andre Roy's first year, he definitely didn't hold back any. Like I said, 28 fights is pretty impressive rookie season. Roy only played 2 years in the Q. Like I said, he played 2000 and 01 there. He only played 5 games, but let's get on to his second season here. Actually, before we get into the second season here, let me just give you my opinion on Marc-Andre Roy. When I seen him play here in Cape Breton. So the stories I can have about Marc-Andre Roy is we had George Davis on the team when he would fight Marc-Andre Roy, and these guys would have legit wars, just toe-to-toe, none of that technical stuff. It wasn't trying to grab and who got better position. These guys just grabbed on and would go toe-to-toe, and I mean cement their feet and just throw hands. But, during warm-ups and stuff, I'm pretty sure Marc-Andre Roy used to come out with, no chest protector on and just his elbow pads. They were really thin, and he would just stand right on the red line, and he wouldn't move. I mean, he'd be standing there. I mean, I remember him getting into it with the coach, Pascal Vincent, at the time for the Cape Breton Streaming Eagles, and, him and Vincent were just yelling back at each other. Marc-Andre Roy was a very intimidating man. In my opinion, he was a mean dude. You got to give the guy credit. You don't get 432 penalty minutes your first year and not be a bad dude. You know what I mean? You don't hold the record for 653 penalty minutes in a season without being a bad dude. So Marc-Andre Roy was definitely not to be messed with at the time. But like I said, he had battles. It wasn't just for these 28 fights. It wasn't just, I'm going to grab you and we're going to throw a couple punches and fall down. This guy was a Q fighter, man. I mean, this guy was definitely a guy that you didn't want to mess with back in your day. And I mean, Marc-Andre Roy, you got to give him credit. Some guys probably have mixed emotions of him. I mean, I know there's listeners out there who probably seen him play LNAH, which I'll get into at a later time, where he went on after his Q days were over. But in his time in the Q, Marc-Andre Roy was known throughout the league. You know what I mean? He was turning some heads at that time, for sure. How couldn't you? So after that season there, we're going into his big season, his final season in the Q, with where he led the league for 653 penalty minutes and 42 fights that year. I went through this whole fights and I just picked out names that really stick out to me. That's what I do on this show. I try to give the viewers names that they'd be familiar with, because there's some guys that are unknown. But that year there, he fought Thomas Bellemare 3 times, Jimmy Bonneau 5 times, Scott Gibson twice. He fought Eric Nielsen. Eric Nielsen, another tough dude. I'm sure you all got, everybody out there knows him. He fought Nathan Vino, a very underestimated QMJHL tough guy, who deserves to be talked about. That guy was the tough as nails too. Of course, he went on and fought Curtis Tidball. I mean, it'd be very odd if Curtis Tidball's name was not on your fight card back in those days. He fought the Hammer, Jonathan Tremblay, twice that season. Jeremy Knight again. He took on Pascal Morency 3 times. Nick Fugere, I'm sure you guys know him. His brother Bobby went and played in the LNAH. He fought Patrick Tessier twice that season, also fighting George Davis. on his way to the big 653 penalty minute career. I mean, 653 penalty minutes it's just unheard of now. I mean, there's nobody out there that would probably ever get that in a season. I mean, look in the NHL, for example. I mean, I'm sure the highest guy's penalty minutes is maybe 100, maybe. I mean, that's nothing. But like Marc-Andre Roy had 653 penalty minutes just himself. So, like, when I touched on earlier, like, there's people out there who just, some people would shit on Marc-Andre Roy for what he did in the LNAH, but, like, you have to think about this. Let me just, like, go over this one more time. The names that he fought in the queue were the who's who of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I mean, when you go to a league like the LNAH, I mean, it really doesn't matter what you've done in the league before. It's what you can do here. I mean, the LNAH at that time, when Wah got there, that was a different breed of animal than what he was used to. I mean, he had Patrick Cote and them guys running around at that point. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are different animals, but, like, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, I mean, Thomas Bellemare. Thomas Bellemare is one of the toughest guys still lacing the skates today. I mean, that guy still plays. I mean, Jimmy Bonneau, his record speaks for itself. I mean, he went on to play the AHL, and he did it for years. You know what I mean? Jimmy Bonneau is a tough cat, too. And especially in his Q days. I mean, these guys were young and hungry, man, back then. These guys didn't hold back. They gave it everything they had. Eric Nielsen, like, look at Eric Nielsen, for example, another guy who could stand there with the devil and start throwing haymakers. I mean, that guy there was another tough guy. And, like, Jonathan Tremblay, again, twice that season. I mean, Jonathan Tremblay, if you had balls to drop your gloves with Jonathan Tremblay back then, I mean, my hat is off to you. So, like, if there is Marc-Andre Roy haters out there, I mean, you can't knock the guy's Q career. You really and truly can't. I mean, yeah, he played different when he went to other leagues, but when he was in the Q league, that man was a scary, scary dude. I mean, he was. Like I said, 653 penalty minutes. Like, it is what it is. The guy was not to be messed with when he was a young buck. Not for sure. He was a very intimidating individual, a very scary dude. And with the 653 penalty minutes, I mean, it even landed him. He even got drafted to the NHL. I mean, in 2002, he was drafted in the 7th round, 214th overall by the Vancouver Canucks. He didn't end up playing for the Vancouver Canucks or anything like that, but the guy can say he did it. I mean, with that much fighting and that much penalty minutes, I mean, he turned the heads of the right people, and it ended up giving him a shot to be in the NHL. The man got drafted to the NHL. There's a lot of tough guys out there who didn't get drafted to the NHL, but Marc-Andre Roy did, and with that record of 653 and 432 penalty minutes the year before, I mean, how can you knock the guy? Like I said, Marc-Andre Roy, we're just focusing on his Q career. Like, I know he went on and played some ECHL hockey, SPHL. He went and played LNAH, of course, but the guy had a great career. You know what I mean? He traveled the world playing hockey, and what he did in the Q is going to go down in history. So Marc-Andre Roy is definitely, he made it. He's in the history books. He's in the history books to go down as Baie-Comeau's most penalized player. I mean, this is before, like, Baie-Comeau was known for having a lot of tough guys. I mean, you'll see that throughout as we go on the careers of some of these guys and the different teams that I'm going to touch on and everything like that. Like, they had Pierre-Luc Leblanc and Ryan James Hand, you know what I mean? The list goes on and on there. But none of them guys could do what Marc-Andre Roy did in one single season. I mean, did they get close? They got high numbers, but they didn't get to 653. That's for damn sure. So Marc-Andre Roy will go down in history as the most penalized player in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. From now, then, and forever, it's going to be Marc-Andre Roy. So, like I said, he went on and fought a lot of tough guys. Like, some of the videos are up on YouTube. I can get those up there for you guys if you guys are interested in it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one on Marc-Andre Roy. I mean, he didn't have a long stint in the queue. It's not like some of these guys, like Samuel Duplain, for example. Samuel Duplain played like 4 years in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And Marc-Andre Roy only really technically played 2 full seasons. So, like, my hat is off to Marc-Andre Roy. Like, I hope there's guys out there who got to see him play and got to see what he was like in junior. And I'm sure if there's any guys that are listening to this right now that played against or played with Marc-Andre Roy would tell you that guy was a tough cat back in his day. And he definitely deserves some recognition for that. So, like I said, I got to see the guy growing up and seeing what he could do. And, like, was he the toughest player to ever play in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League? No. Like, there's all kinds of tough names, and that's a topic for itself in another day. It bred a lot of people. But, like, regardless, was he the best fighter or was he the best, guy to ever do it? No. But he's the guy that did it enough to hold the world record in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. You know what I mean? He holds the record. So, like I said, my hat's off to Marc-Andre Roy. Big, huge, congratulations to him, because that's a massive achievement. And I know some people out there could be like, oh, well, it's only 653 penalty minutes, but and he's not like he scored 100 goals, but this is a show strictly for the Quebec Major Junior League hockey fighters. So, I said, if you stumble across this and you're like, oh, well, he's just a goon, well, everybody has their opinion on themselves, but the man fought 42 times and fought every tough guy you could think of in the eras he was there, so he seems like a pretty legitimate tough guy to me. So my hat's off to Marc-Andre Roy for that. I just want to say thank you guys for listening to another exciting episode of 5 in a Game. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And that's the career of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League for Marc-Andre Roy. Like I said, we can do another episode of where these guys went after after the Q days was over, but I just want to stay in the queue for right now. I just want to say thanks for Darren for the Fourth Line Voice podcast, for giving me a shout out and kind of getting my ball rolling here. Like, I'm a massive fan of the Fourth Line Voice. What Darren does over there is absolutely amazing. The way he interviews players, it's awesome. So I just want to say thanks, Darren. For that, Alec at the 5 for Fighting podcast, I'll plug you too. I listen to you as well, man. You do an awesome job over there. And sorry about the whole YouTube situation that you got going on. But yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you for listening to another episode of 5 in a Game. And I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. And I look forward to putting out more for you guys. So like I said, thanks for that. If you guys could like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing day or night wherever you're listening to. And I'll see you on the next time of 5 in a Game.